Welcome back to Coffee with Screams, a coffee break podcast.
Because sometimes you just need a little coffee break.
Yeah, I'm Alex.
And I'm Danelle.
Welcome back, Danelle. What's up?
Yeah, what's up?
Episode...
How you been?
Yeah, episode 2. You know, we had originally said we would try to do this bi-weekly. It's been a month. So I guess,
Yeah, so
you know what? I think it's important though if we don't hold ourselves to a schedule, if we just do it when we can. That way it's not like it doesn't like cause any stress in our lives, you know, and we're not like we're just trying to, it's fine. You know?
That's adulthood for you. If you think about it. Yeah. You plan for things and sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes you have to push it back.
Yeah.
You know?
So but we're here, and we're
right.
This is the second episode. Welcome everybody. If this is your first episode, last time we talked about friendships and conflicts. The whole point of this show is to just kind of, you know, talk about life, chill out. You know, you can come and hang out with us. So today we have a topic. Do you want to get to the topic right away, or do you want to just like chit chat for a minute?
Yeah, you know, we brainstormed a little bit, but we ultimately decided, you know, good topic, burnout.
Yeah.
Good old burnout. Everyone experiences it, you know?
Yeah. It's very common, and you know, we're both around. I'm not gonna give our ages away, but we're both around the same age, you know, and we're like hitting that point in adulthood, because I feel like whenever you're like 20, you're not actually like an adult, right? Like you're not. Like you're like you're still a kid for like 5 years, you know.
And you think you know, yeah.
Yeah. But you know, we're hitting that point to where like, you know, we're getting there.
And, absolutely, we are getting there.
Yeah, and burnout. I mean, honestly, burnout doesn't just happen to adults. It happens to anybody. That dog gets burnout.
She's agreeing with you. What can I say? That's right. Right. We all get burnout, right, Maple?
You know, from work, school. Sport. It could be sports. It could be things you like. Being creative. Like you get burnout from literally anything. It's her deal.
He's agreeing with you, by the way. Yes. Great topics. I know. I'm passionate too. Thank you.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about burnout. Maybe give some tips and stuff. And Danelle, give me a little example of a point in your life when you've experienced burnout.
I would feel like one of the most like memorable like peak time for burnout for me was during no, it wasn't during, it was after COVID. I wouldn't say after COVID. It was more so when things weren't as like tense and like high pressure and stressful. Because I worked in a customer service job. And nothing changed on my end besides having to police, 6 feet, you know, distance, masks, you know, having to let people know, and then just like disinfecting everything, you know. It was like a horror movie, like crazy time, being told about, you know, a disease that just appear, or a virus that appears, and no one knows how to deal with it. There's no answers, you know, and basically still consider like an essential worker, and having to show up every day at my job where people, you know, didn't want to cooperate, or it's just very crazy times. And I worked through all of that. I didn't take any breaks, and I was just hearing from like other people about how, you know, other people got laid off and they were able to file for unemployment. And I never really researched it, but I just heard that their wages were better. But essentially, just working through that, like those years during the COVID was just a lot. And so after the next job I got, which was at a doctor's office, a specialist, I traveled to different clinics, and my hours were like 12 hours a day. I would get up, start my day at 5 a.m., and I wouldn't get home until 5 p.m. And there wasn't very much for me to do afterwards. You know, I tried to enjoy myself, but then I had to sacrifice something. If I wanted to spend more time with friends and have my own time, I lost sleep. If I chose sleep, then I lost quality time with like family and friends. So one had to go always. And
so you said goodbye, family and friends, right? You said get out of here.
Literally, sleep matters, you know, more so now. But I moved out, and the roommate I had at the time, it was like the grass is greener on the other side kind of perspective I had there. Um, she had quit her job, and she was just every day I would get home from such a long day of work, 12 hours, been up, and she would just be like chilling, watching TV, like all cozy, like in her clean little cozy apartment, and just like enjoying herself. And she'd just be so happy and full of joy, and asking me like, "How's your day?" And I'm just like, "Ugh, like long day or whatever." And I was just like, "Oh my God, like, is that the key? Is that what I need to do?" And I had savings saved up at the time, so I was like, "You know what? Why don't I just quit my job?" Did I have another job lined up? No. Was I gonna wing it? Absolutely. And so I quit my job and I spent 2 months not working, and I was absolutely going insane. Having that much time off, I just felt like I wasn't like a what do you call it? A productive member of society. Like I wasn't doing my contribution. And I just struggled with because I'm a very schedule, like routine kind of person. I feel like working kind of helps me keep that. And when I wasn't working, I was just sleeping in all the time, doing whatever I want. It was nice for the first couple of weeks, but then after I just got bored. Like it just got it's just the same thing every day. I like blur. Like that point in my life was a blur. Um I would say you don't have to overdo it like that if you're experiencing those feelings, from doing the same tasks every day, working long hours, or just, working very physically, like intensive jobs, any like variety from sit down to, um, you don't have to push it that hard. I feel like everyone needs a break sometimes, like a little vacation. When you have that time, like you should utilize that time, because then you will reach that breakout point, sooner than later.
You
So
missed
that's one lesson I learned is you don't have to go crazy.
you missed an opportunity to say a little coffee break, and you didn't use
I know. I didn't.
it.
Everyone
Damn
needs a
it,
little coffee
Danelle! I'm
break.
trying to build a
Hey,
brand.
hey,
I'm
you
trying to
can
build a
edit that
brand
out.
here.
You can edit that out. It's okay. You can insert that part because sometimes you just need a little coffee break.
No, that's too late. Yeah. So
Good
yeah.
try.
I mean, and kind of that like extreme of a situation, like quitting your job. I think is also like not having that reassurance of
Yeah.
employment or like a
Don't be like me,
future
guys.
is
Don't be like
also stress. Anytime I've been without a job, it's been like,
me. Mhm.
yeah, it's nice because I don't have anything to do, but also like I'm worried about the fact that I'm not doing anything 24 hours a day. And it's like, well,
Yep.
this didn't help anything.
No. No.
um, I've had a few times where I felt burnout. I'm just gonna go with the worst one though, which it's
That
been
was the worst for me. Yeah.
it's been a little while. Um, around the same time, around 2021, 2022,
Hmm.
around that period, right after COVID.
Hmm.
I used to. I'm not gonna say where or what, but I used to be a manager for a fast food chain, and I did that for about 6 years. And at the end of my career, I was an assistant general manager, but for a big chunk of it, I was just a regular manager. And
Hmm.
at this point, I was just a regular manager, and I was going through like some pretty bad depression that I wasn't really dealing with in the healthiest ways.
Hmm.
And at the time, I would just work night shift, so I would go in around. It depends on the shift, but usually I would go in around 10 o'clock at night and leave at 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was so burned out and kind of done with my position at that point that, and I this is awful because I have since apologized to those involved in this situation, but
Hmm.
I would literally go in, I would clock in, make sure like my team had what they needed, and then I would just go sit in my office for the entire shift basically. I would get up whenever because like every once in a while they'd be like, "Hey, we need your help to come do." I'm like, "Okay, hold on," and I would go help them with them, and then I'd go sit back down. And I would literally do that. I would play on my phone, or I would have like a whatever game or something with me, and I'd play. And I would
Hmm.
literally distract myself for the 8 hours of the shift, and then go home. And I did that for God, like it was like 5 or 6 months without anybody saying anything to me.
They just let, yeah.
Because they didn't have anybody else to do my job. because nobody else would
Ah,
fill that position, so
yeah,
they weren't gonna say anything to me. And then
yeah.
finally, I guess finally they had enough because again it happened for a long time. It was like around like November of
Hmm.
2021. Yeah, I think this is just 2021. I don't know why I brought up 2022, but it was like around November 2021 that I changed general managers at that store, and she was somebody that I knew. She got promoted up, and she finally came to me and she was like, "Hey, like I need you to stop," you know, and and again, I have since like apologized to her and
Right,
apologized to the
right.
other because like I only worked with
Hmm.
a few of the people that that late in the night, so I apologized to them about the situation. But yeah, I was just like I was not dealing with what I needed to deal with in a healthy way,
Yeah.
and that's how that would manifest was just me kind of like neglecting my job through that.
Hmm.
And I just didn't I wanted to do anything but be there, but I knew like I had to be
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
yeah, and it was rough.
It was. I bet it was. Yes, it was rough. I did the same exact thing. I was very like not like really interactive kind of job. I was just like front desk. So I just checked in patients and checked them out. And once they were done, like the rest was left to the clinic. I would spend hours of my time like on like streaming service, like apps, just watching stuff in between. Just wanted to be anywhere else but there.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
many different things I think can cause burnout. It's not necessarily always the job, you know
Right?
um
Right?
which I mean it can be the job. I mean I've had
Hmm.
situations where I've had one recently where it was like sort of out of everybody's control. Like
Yeah.
I was working alone for like 2 weeks, and it was like
Yeah.
I didn't like it, nobody
It's
liked
just,
it, but like
yeah.
it just had to be done.
You're
um
doing like extra work on top of your own work, you know?
yeah, but also like I
Yeah.
said, like in my example, like outside influences can definitely cause burnout, like dealing with stuff at home, depression, dealing with
Mm-hmm.
friendships, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is. Anything that's like
Mm-hmm.
causing stress on your life can kind of like deflate you in that way, to where you just don't have the motivation to do the things you want to do, be it work
Yeah.
or school or being like
Mm-hmm.
in a creative setting, whatever it is. um yeah. So yeah, it's burnout. Where do we go with burnout, Danelle? What do you want to talk about? Like,
Well, like how would you like manage, what would you say or what advice would you give to like people that are currently like experiencing that like
ooh,
burnout
not
feeling?
people. What advice would we give our past selves?
Oh, I like
Ooh,
that
yeah,
spin. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So, I'll. You know what? You told your story first. I'll let you go first. So, what advice would you give post-pandemic Danelle?
Post-pandemic Danelle. Um, I would listen to like, just like sticking it out like when things get rough. Um, and just being like learning the skills like time management, I feel like would have been crucial there. I feel like I didn't manage my time well, and so that's why I felt like I never had time for the things that I wanted to do. And sometimes you can't, sometimes it's out of your control. So whenever you do get time, just like doing what you can to enjoy yourself, like coming back to yourself. I felt like during that time I was also very detached from myself as well. Like I wasn't very grounded. And like doing things that like help ground you. Like I'm very like nature oriented. I like the outdoors. So like getting more like sun time if possible, like outdoor time. It doesn't have to be with like other people. Some people, enjoy like spending time with others, making time for others during that time as well. Making sure you're taking care of yourself. That's another thing. Taking care of yourself during that burnout because it could also trigger feelings of like depression, anxiety, and all that. And, whenever I happen to go through those times, it's really hard for me to remember to take care of myself. I'm like focused on everything else but myself. Just like sticking to your routines. Like make sure you should be cheering yourself on, for you got out of the bed, you got to brush your teeth, you took a shower, you got ready for work, you showed up. And like pushing through when you don't want to. There have been many days where I just didn't want to get up and go to work. And so I would listen to that little voice that's like, don't do it. And I would reach out to my friends, waiting for them to give me that one word I need, like that pass to like not do it. but just showing up for yourself. So, doing it when you don't want to, like building that habit of like doing it when you don't want to, because you're always showing up for yourself. And, like planning for the future. I didn't set myself up for the future. I didn't have a job lined up when I quit my job. I didn't have my financials in order, like things I needed to focus on, like spending, um, versus like what I was income like making in. Um, and I feel like, yeah, I feel like that is what I would tell myself looking back at it now. Give yourself time. Take a little time. Like, don't be drastic and quit your job. Take like a couple weeks off. I had been there for a couple years, so I know I had time off that I hadn't used. I could have just instead taken like a 2 week break, maybe a 1 week break to like decide what I want to do. Like, like figure out a plan. Like, do I want to stay at this job? Like, what are the pros and cons? Do I want another job? Do I want to pursue something else? Do I want to, further my hobbies, my interests? Do I want to go back to school, etc.? Figuring stuff like that out.
You said, "Don't be a drama queen." I was kidding. Oh.
That's my core. I have to be who I am.
If I were to talk to my past self in that
Mm-hmm.
situation, especially knowing what I know now, because it's hard.
Yes.
Again, it's hard in that moment to know what you need,
Mm-hmm.
exactly, or just to even
Mm-hmm.
know like what the root of the issue really is. So the advice I would give my past self, is, for one, maybe to learn a little more discipline. I think would have been great for me, because I was in a situation to where I didn't really have any repercussions for my actions.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and I honestly, I work better when I'm under pressure. Whenever I have like a little
Yeah.
fire to my back, that's when I'm like, oh, okay, and I like do my best,
Urgency. Urgency.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta get it
If
done.
if you
Yeah.
just kind of leave me to waller, I'm gonna waller, So, and especially in this situation, yeah, I took full advantage of that. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
really have pride in my work, and I didn't really have any discipline. But also, I would have really, I would have told myself to really like try to find the root of this issue, because I wasn't unhappy with my job or like the successes that I had at that, in that position, or where I was, the people that
Yes.
I worked with. It wasn't really anything to do with the job. But I was feeling burnout because I just didn't want to be there. And why didn't I want to be there? I think it would have been
Mm-hmm.
important, especially at that time, if I would have maybe talked to a therapist and tried to figure out, because I did years later talk to a therapist about this very thing that happened. And I told her, and she said, "Oh yes, you were most definitely depressed. Like, you were most definitely going through like this really deep bout of depression where I was like sinking into myself, you know." And I don't want to make the episode about depression, but yeah, it was just like,
So.
if I had taken the time back then to like use the
Mm-hmm.
tools that were available to me, like therapy, to try to figure out why I was
Yes. Yeah.
going through this experience, I could have
Yes.
figured it out, and dealt with it in a healthier way. And I think those around me could even see it. The manager that I said like eventually said something to me. I remember
Mm-hmm.
this is like years later after I had left that job and didn't work for that company anymore. I had messenger, and I had told, like, after I talked to that therapist and figured out like what the hell happened, I had told her, and I had like apologized to her, and she was like, "No, it's fine. You didn't do anything wrong. You always did what I asked you to do." She was like, "But like
Yeah.
like she said, like, I could tell that like you were depressed, and sometimes you're so in your like set in your own point of view that you can't like see the way that others see you. But it's important
Mm-hmm.
to know that, like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like other people like around me at that time could definitely tell that like something was going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And it's not their job to step up, but you know what I mean. Like, it is. I could have also like maybe talked to somebody or talked to my boss and been like, "Hey, like, this is how I'm feeling," and then
Yeah.
see what I could have been done on that front. It just any number of things. But
Yeah. Like
instead,
leaning on your support.
yeah, 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 leaning on your support. But instead, I chose to do nothing. Literally, chose to do nothing.
Literally chose to rot instead. Yes.
Yeah, literally.
Rot in my depression. Yeah.
Yeah. Sit and
Yeah.
rot.
Ah, good old days.
Yeah, and the we are going to eventually give tips. But I do want to say that the tips we're going to give are specifically for burnout.
Yeah.
If you are suffering with depression or anything of that nature, this isn't really an episode talking about what you should do. But I do want to let you know that it is important that you use the tools available to you, and you should talk to somebody about it. Um, but we're also, this isn't about depression today, so we're not gonna the advice we
Get too
give.
deep in that
Yeah, yeah,
topic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The advice we give today is gonna be for burnout. So yeah, I mean, and we're talking jobs, but like I said, it's very possible that like people feel burnout when it comes to school. I mean, I know I did growing up. You
Yes.
school sucks. School sucks worse than a job. A job, I can wake up tomorrow and I can choose. It's a bad choice, but I can choose to go, fuck it. Like I don't want to go to my job. Like I'm not going. And I can choose just to stay home. And guess what? I mean, I'm gonna derail my whole future, but it's fine because I'm an adult.
It's fine.
I'm an adult and I can make that choice. But as a kid,
That's
you
right.
don't really get that choice. I mean, yeah, you can like play sick, and your parents will buy that a few times. But in most situations, your parents are gonna make you go to school, and it's
And
really
there's consequences if you don't.
yeah, yeah, and there's like legal consequences if you don't go to school.
Yes, legal
So
consequences
like
if you don't show
in
up.
a lot of ways, like I think kids in school like experience burnout a lot because of that. Because
Yeah.
you're forced to be
Yeah.
there every day around the same people, doing the same things in the same rooms. And
Yep.
yeah, so like I understand. Like I couldn't remember a time now because I'm too old. I'm ancient. But
Right.
I understand. Like if there was a point, if you're listening and you've gone to school recently or like you're in school, if there's a point where you felt burnout because it's very much real. Like you're expected to do
It
a lot
is.
in those situations. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're expected
Mm-hmm.
to do work at school and then work at home and then extra curricular activities and sports or whatever it is you're doing or band, and then you're expected to like still show up for your family, and then if you're religious or you're doing that like every weekend, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff to
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
So if you are feeling burnout in that situation, I would also give you some advice to like also talk to somebody, see what you can do. And also, I think a big point of advice I would give for burnout is to like still try to carve out time for yourself. Give yourself time to like do the things you like, Give yourself a little treat.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
you know?
Everyone deserves it. Yep.
Yeah. Everyone deserves what, Danelle?
Everyone deserves a little coffee break sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
Say that backwards.
Yeah, whatever. You close enough. Close enough.
I got the point across.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
because sometimes you just need a little coffee break. That's it.
Yeah. What's
the
your
point.
what
Yeah.
Danelle? I mean, I'm sure we're gonna end up on similar wavelength in some ways, but what are some like things you like to do that maybe can help mitigate burnout? What are some like little treats you give yourself?
I don't know if people consider it a treat, but physical activity of any sort.
Anything's a
So,
treat if it gives you dopamine.
hey, that's right. So exercising, anything outdoors, like going on hikes, walks, gym time. I like to game as well. So that's like quality time with friends who don't live close by. So that's also another plus. Um, food. Food brings me a lot of comfort and happiness. So trying out different stuff, trying out a new restaurant if it's possible, or even just like getting something that I know is always going to be good, like a comfort food spot. Um, family time. Now that my family has been expanding, having nieces and nephews, really like shaped my love for the family that I have. Um, and what else? Animals, pets. I love pets. I love dogs. I love being around them. They also make me feel really good. And just like treating myself. So a treat for me, I guess another treat on top of a treat, getting my nails done, getting like a pedicure, having someone else take care of something for me is also like a big thing for me, I realize. Getting my hair done, going shopping, or like, treating myself to like a coffee drink if I've done all things I need to, or, I've been doing good and like drinking a lot of coffee at home. I'll treat myself to like a coffee outside of home.
Get yourself
Um,
a little vanilla matcha, a little
Vanilla lavender
lavender. Yeah,
matcha,
I tried it. I tried
which
it. I did it. I held my. I sent you a picture.
okay,
I sent you a picture.
you did.
I was
You
drinking it.
did.
And I
Now
have
we
to.
need the review. Hmm.
I this was what, like a month ago when we made this deal. I think since then I've drank it about 3 times because
Okay.
I'm not the biggest matcha drinker, but it was
That's
good.
okay.
But it was
It was
good.
good.
It was good. So yeah, it
Right?
was like when I wanted to change it up. I that's my
Uh-huh.
like every once in a while one now.
Yes. Yes. A nice little vanilla lavender matcha.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
only put a little
I'm
bit of
glad.
lavender, but yeah,
Okay. That's okay. That's okay. Everyone has their preferences. That's the beauty of it.
yeah.
And now, drum roll, please. What do you like to do?
Me? You're gonna ask
Yes.
me? I thought.
Yes.
Oh
For
yeah.
yourself. What do you like to do? For
Well,
your treat for yourself.
the obvious one is hobbies. Now, you know what? It's important to make sure that whenever you're choosing your treat, you're not choosing
Hmm.
anything that's going to be harmful to yourself and
Mm,
to your mental
I
health.
like that.
So, like,
Hmm.
when I talked about dopamine earlier, I didn't mean that literally because obviously, like, if you are watching like pornography or if you're eating fast food or something, like, yeah, that's gonna make you feel good in a moment, but that's not
That's
good.
my treat,
That's
guys.
not gonna make you feel good. Like that's gonna leave you worse than
Temporarily,
yeah,
it'll make
for
me
like
feel good.
a second. Yeah, then you just
Yeah.
after you watch that Pornhub video or eat that cheeseburger, you're gonna be like,
Then you
oh man.
wallow in a lot
No,
of
no, 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 no.
self-existence.
If you're watching that Pornhub video while eating a cheeseburger, hey, do your own thing. But
Best of both
best of
worlds.
both worlds. But
Pleasure with pleasure.
no,
Yeah.
so the most obvious one is hobbies. I have a hobby called video games. It's behind me,
Ooh, I
and
can tell.
and I love it.
Yeah.
And it's something that I like playing games and just learning about
Hmm.
games, and just talking about games or whatever it is. But one of the other aspects that I really like is just creating content as we are right now. And I make videos about video games, or I make
Yeah.
I do podcasts about video games, or I do whatever.
Hmm.
Just being creative, like having a creative
Yeah.
outlet, I think is a great way to mitigate burnout because to me, you're taking some of that stress and you're pushing it into somewhere else. You can use it in some
Hmm.
other part of
Hmm.
your life.
Releasing that feeling instead of
Yeah,
holding on to it, letting
yeah.
it build. Yes.
And I think that's honestly why I've like always been a very creative person, and I've ever since
Hmm.
I've like like there's a famous saying, like, it's not like the paint, it's the or sorry it's not the painter, it's sorry, the tools, it's the painter, whatever. It's not about what you have,
Yeah.
it's about how you use them, basically. And that's always been my thing, is that like
Yeah.
ever since I was little. I remember like the first time I like got my hands on like a video camera, and I was like, how many like this, like, all the ideas rushing through my brain of like what I could do with that video camera. And
Yeah.
yeah. So like, just even if you don't have like the best equipment or whatever, like, or even if you want to paint or make videos or whatever it is you want to
Mhm.
do, like, do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
You're gonna create
Yeah.
something. You're gonna have a fun time. And you're gonna be able
Hmm.
to express yourself. Other than hobbies, yeah, a little treat works. I've honestly I've been, and this has been a new development. I have been giving myself more self discipline when it comes to my little treats. So much so, Danelle, that I am now on a pretty big like diet. Um, yeah, and
Oh, can tell.
I've cut out a lot of things, a lot of fats, a lot
Hmm.
of sugars, a lot of that stuff, and
Oh.
I'm doing good. You know what, this,
Hmm.
and like, honestly, like, I think this is a good like piece of advice too, is like changing your like health, like your lifestyle choices, because like I have felt good doing this because I mainly drink like water. Sometimes I have a coffee in the morning, and I eat a lot of like veggies and protein and stuff, and I've been trying to keep myself
Yay.
pretty healthy,
Veggies
and
and protein.
so much so that my
Hmm.
my quote unquote cheat day is Saturday. I'm off, and I'm like,
That's
that's
the designated,
like,
huh?
if I want to have a cheat day, it's gonna be on a Saturday. So this last Saturday was my cheat day,
Hmm.
and I was like, I'm gonna give myself a little treat, right? It was actually to my detriment because I went to I went to Hardee's and I got myself a hot ham and cheese. And
Oh,
I tell
man.
you what, I felt like after eating it great, like the last few weeks, I felt like absolute garbage eating that. So maybe don't do that. Bad
Oh my
idea.
God. That was like a shock to your system.
Yeah,
You
I was
need to
like,
be
what?
ease yourself into
What are
it.
you doing? Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, like I said, like there's things that like you can do like that that aren't gonna really give you
Hmm.
fulfillment, but like yeah, like taking care of yourself can be a way to mitigate burnout. Like self care is important, and be it
Hmm.
that a lifestyle
Hmm. You
change or
got to pick one.
a
Yeah.
diet or just making sure you take a shower, whatever it is, man. Just like so, like
Yeah.
you gotta take care of yourself, and I think that's important.
You've got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Emphasis.
But a little treat is nice. I still like to have a
Hmm.
coffee. Sometimes I'll have a. You know what? Even though I had that hot ham and cheese, I drank a root beer and I loved it every step of the way.
Root beer was what
Yeah.
really sealed the deal for
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
wasn't
yeah. I
it?
love I love soda. I try not to drink a lot of it, but every once in a while, is
Yes,
it
we
gonna?
know.
We every once in I know
Me.
every once in a
Yeah.
while. I know there was points
Now they know.
whenever me and Danelle were working
Hmm.
together where I would just like I was drinking a Mr. Pibb and then I was drinking a Mr. Pibb. And then I was drinking a Mr. Pibb, and you were like, "You should stop drinking
And what did
that."
I say?
You're like, "That was
Uh,
bad, bad. Don't drink that."
because you would also drink coffee
I
with
know,
the Mr.
I know.
Pibb.
It was bad. It was bad. And like I stopped doing that. But I'm not gonna deny myself a little treat. So, maybe on the week
That's exactly,
maybe on the
you did
Saturday
good.
on a Saturday or something, I'll have a
Hmm.
Mr. Pibb, whatever.
There you go.
Treat yourself.
Not a hot ham
Not a
sandwich.
not a
Ham
hot ham and
cheese.
cheese and curly fries. That's a bad idea.
But the Mr. Pibb,
My
for sure.
I seriously felt like my body was like, what the fuck did you just put into me? Like what the hell what's going on here?
American fast food. That's
Yeehaw.
what you did. Yeehaw.
Yeah.
That's the best it's gonna
Next,
get.
you know
Yeah.
what? Next time I'll go to like Chipotle. I think that would have been better.
Okay. A
Yeah,
little bit.
or something.
Yeah. Oh,
Or
there
like
you go.
or like
Treat
Panera
yourself to
bread.
like a food.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good
yeah,
Panera. Got good soups.
yeah. Bread. I like bread.
Bread. We love bread. I love carbs. Carbs. That's my
What
go-to.
what else? What other? I'm trying to think of what other piece of advice. Hobbies,
Yeah, you've been on a good roll right now. You sound very
lifestyle,
wisdom.
I sound
You
very
sound.
wisdom.
You
s-
have
you
great
sound
amounts
no
of
no 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 no.
wisdom.
You sound very wisdom. Danelle 2025. That's the quote.
Yeah,
That's the quote.
I had to go with it. You sound like you know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to think of like
Solid advice.
I'm trying to think of what other pieces of advice I would
So,
give. I don't know.
man, taking care of yourself,
Yeah.
treating yourself,
Hobbies, creative outlet.
hmm
Uh,
leaning on support.
there we go. Support. You know what? That should be a huge one. That should be a big one to me because like I am very close.
Yeah.
I am very close with my family. I don't
Hmm.
ever think about it because I'm lucky to like have my family. And so I have that support constantly. So
Hmm.
I think in some ways I take it for granted at points. And some people don't have that. But if you do, like, yeah, like, don't take it for granted. Like, it's great to have somebody like a parent or a sibling or a friend, whoever it is that you consider your support, to talk to them.
Hmm.
That's a great thing to do. See what they can do for you, or even just talking to them could be enough to help.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Getting it out. Maybe sometimes even get like a third perspective, like an outside
Yeah,
perspective on something you can't think through clearly.
yeah. Take them out for a hot ham and cheese. Talk it over.
Talk it over. A little cheat for you both. Absolutely. That's quality bonding time right
All
there.
right, I want to start bringing
Get your
up.
dopamine with the side of
I
dopamine.
want to start bringing up the hot ham and cheese.
You just love a hot ham. Now you're gonna make me go get one.
It's
Are you
good.
proud of yourself?
It's good.
Are you happy?
Oh no,
You're happy?
Doug, have you when's the last time you had a hot ham and cheese?
It's been a while. It's
Yeah,
been a while.
that's not like an everyday
Yeah.
sandwich. It's like a
I'm gonna eat my tuna instead and call it a day.
there you go.
Protein.
Yeah, yeah. Get that
Yeah.
dopamine from making the right choice.
That's right. See? And it works. It works. And I'm gonna go work out too. So
Yeah.
two good choices.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna sleep. I think sleep's important too. Make sure,
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
yes.
make sure you get enough sleep. Because if you listen, if you're getting too much sleep or too little sleep, both can hurt you
Hmm.
dramatically. I think to a
Yes.
point to where most people don't understand how much that can actually hurt you.
Hmm.
So make sure you're getting your 8 to 6 hour, whatever it is you need. I'm like a 6 hour sleeper. Like I'm 6 hours.
Me too.
I'm good to roll.
6 to 8.
Yeah,
More so
eight.
on the six.
Usually anymore. I think I used to be an 8 hour sleeper. Anymore, like on the weekends, I'll do eight, and I'm tired. I'm more tired when I do eight.
Because your body is like, what are you doing to me, man?
Yeah,
We
it's
had a
like
schedule 6 hours a night. Why are we doing 8 all of a
extra
sudden?
sleep, hot ham and cheese. I'm living it up on the
What's
weekends.
next? Yeah, absolutely. You're having a party down
Yeah,
there.
so I think that's important. And again, it's important to also note that there are things you can do that may feel good in the moment that may not help you. Those
Hmm.
things would be
Yes,
those things
temporary,
those things
temporary.
would be, of course, hot ham and cheese, but also pornography, drinking,
Hmm.
substance, whatever it is. I'm not saying like you can't smoke a little weed or something. That's whatever. That's on you. But like like really like taking really abusing things that you use for pleasure. I think really
Yes,
abusing
yes.
anything that you use for that kind of pleasure
Yeah,
can
you need a good
really,
balance in every way.
yeah. So that is
Hmm.
not an answer you want to lean on. If you're
Yeah.
if you're experiencing burnout and you're stressed, maybe don't smoke weed like every moment of your waking life. Because I know some people that I
And then
do.
the next thing you know, 5 years go by in a blur, and you're like, what am I doing with my life?
You're like, whoa.
What have I done? Oh
Whoa.
my goodness. Don't let burnout lead to bad choices.
Don't let
Just for
burnout turn you.
temporary pleasure.
Don't turn
Yes.
into a
Don't,
burnout.
don't turn into a burnout. Yeah.
That's a big one. What else? What else? I mean, obviously, like people. I think if you're in school, I'm gonna keep circling back to that because again, we don't have that perspective.
Oh my God, not the kids in school.
Yeah, we can't forget about the kids,
The people in
Danelle. For the
school.
kids, Danelle, we can't forget about
Yeah.
the kids.
For the kids.
Again, I think everything we talked about, except for the pornography, drinking, or drugs, can't apply to you. I have to make that clear. Can't apply to you.
You do.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe if you're, something that we can't really speak on, but some kids can. If you have an extracurricular activity that you enjoy, like soccer or whatever it is, kind of devote more time to that. Or like if you're religious and you have like a youth group or something that you're into, like hey, that's a support system. That's something you can. That's a part of your community that you can really rely on in some ways. You know,
Absolutely.
there are other outlets for you that we don't really have as adults that are great. Even your school. I think even there's a support system in a lot of school.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
School
say
therapist.
I'm not gonna say every school because schools. A lot of schools suck, and a lot of people that work at schools suck. But like, if it doesn't be a school therapist. If you have like a trusted adult at your school, I always knew like even whenever I hated school, I had a few teachers I liked. Like talk to those teachers. Like talk to
Mhm.
them, see what they can do for you, see what kind of support they can give you in that sort of situation. What advice they can give you.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if you're an old
I
person.
like
I'm just
that.
kidding. I just go through all stages of life.
I'm gonna take that advice with me as someone who is returning to school.
Yeah,
Um,
Danelle,
and I'll give
this
you
is
guys.
yes, this is the back end of the episode. I'm glad you brought it up because I had completely forgot.
Okay. I'm
uh,
here to remind you, keep you on track,
Danelle's
Support.
Danelle's going back to school, which will be a talking point, I'm sure, throughout these episodes.
Hmm.
And I was going to ask Danelle, you're going back to school as an adult. What tips are you going to give yourself to avoid burnout as an adult going back to school?
Time management, because I'm also working full time and I plan to keep doing so unless something tragically changes or, and I have to adjust accordingly, which I've also, become good with is like you can't control everything that goes on in your life. And so, as much as you like to think you can, there will always be things that'll happen that throw that trajectory all off. And just being able to go with that flow when things change, I feel like is another thing that I always keep in mind. Something I've gotten better with over time. And still taking care of myself, making time for myself, for those things that I like to do, quality time. And what else? Getting my sleep. Sleep is going to be even more important now, you know?
Yeah.
And um, just leaning on my support because I feel like I didn't really have that much, in the early years of school for me. So I've developed a bad relationship with education. But, now that I've learned a lot, been through a lot, am here, and I want to do more with my life, I'm going to lean on my support. And I have my family, my lovely boyfriend, and my friends. Alex, I suppose.
Wait,
My
wait,
dogs.
wait, wait. You thought we were friends?
Um, I mean, why else are we on here, right?
Yeah, yeah, you got me.
No, joke's on you guys. We're actually strangers. We've
Yeah,
been winging it.
I just hired her off Fiverr. I found her on Fiverr and asked her if she could do
I had
this.
pretty good rates, you
I keep
know.
having to pay her
Good fill-in.
Yeah, I keep having to pay her $5 per episode, so she'll come back.
Hey, who else is gonna support my matcha
I made
treat?
up this
You
whole
know?
backstory about our friendship and
Yep. We never knew each other.
yeah.
I think we're doing pretty good. I think we have the people, following along with our
Narrative.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
And thank you. Do you have any tips or advice you think that I might have missed that I should focus on, you think?
It's hard for me to say.
Juggling. Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to say because I haven't been to school in like 12 years.
If you hate school.
I
No,
did.
you're
Oh my
fine.
god, dude! I almost went back to school at one point in my mid 20s, but
Yeah.
but here's my rationale. Whenever I was in school, I absolutely hated it, and I didn't do it. And I was like, it's a good idea for me to go back to school. Like I can learn skills I need and blah blah blah. But then I realized if I wasted the money and went back to school in my mid 20s, I would have also not done it. So I was like, yeah, maybe I won't waste that money. And I just didn't do it.
And that was my argument for the longest time. But I think once you find something that you really want to pursue and, just experience alone can't take you that far, that you also need to couple that with education. For me, I need education in order to pursue what I want. But, I also had that same thought process, like, why would I want to just throw away money on something
Yeah.
I can't see myself doing?
Dude.
Like, I also did not enjoy school, but I also did not have a good relationship. I also didn't have a support system. I didn't take care of myself. I had horrible time management. I never prioritized what I needed to do. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, which was game away to my heart's content, read a book, anything else but school. I had school burnout. Oh my God. It's a full circle moment. I was kidding. But yeah, I just didn't have any motivation. But now I'm feeling really motivated and I want to prove to myself that I can do it. So, and everyone else too. And my lovely support. So I think that's like my biggest driving factor is I really want to do it.
Yeah, but think about your tuition and think about how many hot ham and cheeses you can buy with
The world, the hot ham and cheeses is not going to complete me at the end of the day. The hot ham and cheese is not going to give me purpose. No, I'm just kidding.
that. It might.
I'm going to wake up every day happy that I have hot ham and cheese.
It probably,
No, I've
it
already come to
probably,
terms with that.
it probably gave the person that invented it purpose.
Yeah, that's true. Debt is not new to me. And I think that's another thing. I had to season myself with debt first
Yeah.
to get okay with the idea that you can exist and live your life even if you're in debt. And because I was able to do so, I'm like, why not acquire even more debt?
I am debt free,
Go to
baby.
school.
I got no debt.
Oh, is
No
that right?
debt.
We hear that, Americans. This man here is a rarity.
Woo, woo.
He is debt free.
I don't know. I may go to a hospital or something, but dude, whatever. The less we talk about the American healthcare system, the better.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's designed for healthy people. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a scam.
It's a scam. If you're sick, They screw you over.
How fast?
Insurance doesn't cover for everything.
How
Sorry,
fast can we make this podcast political and just sink it?
I think we just did. We
You
took
think we're
another
done?
out. Now we have to.
No,
Now
no.
we have to talk about politics.
Damn it. Well,
We're done. We're done for.
the next episode.
Gotta make some cuts.
I guess in the next episode we'll talk about Hillary's emails. No.
It's all right.
No?
We're going there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I don't think the people want to hear that.
I didn't take a side.
Oh, he's neutral. You're just as bad as the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, burnout, man. It's important to manage it and make sure you're doing the things you need to do. If you have any advice, if you have experienced burnout and you have advice for others, or at least I didn't get this approved with Danelle, but I'm throwing it out here. I say put it in the comments. Like, please share it. Like, somebody may be going through that very situation right now, listening to this episode, wondering why I'm spending so much time talking about hot ham and cheese. And they're going to check the comments, and they may see your comment and get a good piece of advice from you. So if you have experienced it and you want to share, please, we open the door. Share, please.
We want to hear your stories of how you overcame burnout, what your life was like during burnout, things you learned, things you want to pass on to other people. Everyone has a voice.
Everyone has a voice.
We just have the faces for it. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
We just have a platform.
Yeah. That's right. Money.
Danelle, since this is like the we're like wrapping up here. We got like 10 minutes or so, 50 minutes. I want to ask you to know, what have you been enjoying recently?
What have I been enjoying recently? Pursuing my dream right now, which is going back to school and getting the degree that I am pursuing. I will be in school for 3 years.
So you can expect the next episode of the podcast in 3
years. In 3 years, guys. No worries. It's gonna be a great recap. Not a recap. It's gonna be a great, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Story time? No, storytelling? Not a recap. It is a recap, though, isn't it?
I guess.
A recap of what happened in our lives for 3 years.
Reunion.
Thank you. That's the word. It's gonna be a great reunion. Catching up. Like, good times. How have you been? What's been going on in 3 years? But anyways, you're getting me distracted.
Yeah, sorry.
But just looking into it and, doing my research, getting the support, that's something I really am enjoying right now. While it's peaceful, before hell breaks loose, I enroll in. Yeah. But anyways, go ahead.
Wow.
What about you? What have you been enjoying?
Wow, you're just gonna throw out like making important life choices and chasing your dream, and I'm gonna throw out a fucking video game. I feel like I'm a loser.
No, everyone has different joys in their life.
That's true.
Not all are academic.
At the time of recording this, the previous Friday, Doom: The Dark Ages came out. And it is a video game, and I have played it. I play a lot of video games. That's like what I do, and I don't always beat them. Sometimes I pick them up and just put them down or whatever, or like I take a while and I meander. Danelle, this came out on Friday, and I beat it on Sunday. Yeah.
You were entranced.
I was gaming.
You were, as the kids say nowadays, locked in.
Locked in. I'm gonna get me a gamer tattoo because I am a gamer.
You are a gamer.
I beat it on Sunday. I had a hell of a time. It was very cathartic because it is a first person shooter that's very like violent and fast paced and all about like the power trip of being like this unstoppable, man that can kill gods basically. There's a part in the game where you get to fist fight Cthulhu. I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Best game ever. It was great. So that's what I've been enjoying.
But the real question is, how did you feel after beating the game, completing it?
I was sad that I beat it. I was like, damn it. was sad it wasn't
Yeah.
more.
Right.
Isn't
Yeah.
it the worst feeling after you like beat a game you're really
Yes.
into, or like finishing a show or something you're really into, that you're just like,
Ah, finishing a book series, you're just like, what
what?
now?
Yeah, what now? What do now? Like a
What's
cave.
gonna fill that void of just everything
Dude,
encompassed in one?
I had that experience as a teenager. I was really into anime. Like I still like anime, but I was like really into anime. And
Mhm.
I forget the name of it, but I watched this one that was like really emotional, and like I was really into it. And it only had like 2 seasons, and it was like summer break. And I would stay up till like 5 in the morning watching this thing. And I remember whenever I finished it, it was like I literally like was like stepping out of a cave. You know, I was just like, what now? What do now? Like, what is my life? Like, what do I do?
I feel so empty inside now. Yeah, no, literally. That's what they do to you.
Yeah, I was like, what do I do now?
I'm empty inside. I need to fill the void.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just find your next thing.
Find your next fixation. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But no, it's good. If anybody at home, if you want to take out a little stress and a little rage, I recommend Doom: The Dark Ages. You can fist fight
Okay.
Cthulhu
I recommend going back to school. I'm just kidding.
to take out your rage and stress.
Yes! What better way than acquire debt?
Write a very angry paper.
Yeah, see? Express everything. Let it all out.
You
Make
just-
sure you cite your sources. What's the other one? Is it double space?
It's been 12 years, Danelle. Why would I know?
Recall it from your memory bank like we all do.
Yeah, let me go through those files.
Do the blurb, school. Yeah.
Yeah. The nucleus is the powerhouse of the cell.
I thought that was the mitochondria.
Oh no, I got it wrong. What's the nucleus? It's the mitochondria.
No, is it the mitochondria?
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
No. Don't look
I'm
it
gonna have
up.
to look that
Don't.
up.
No, stop. Don't look it up, because then one of us is wrong and one of us is right, and I don't want that.
I'm happy to be wrong as long as I'm right next time.
All right, you want to look it up?
No, I think you're right. It's a nucleus, but I feel like there's something with the mitochondria that I wanted to point out for whatever reason.
I mean, you can just point it out. And
Okay.
there's the mitochondria. You're like a tour guide. There's the mitochondria.
There's the exactly. Every part has its function. We gotta pay attention to all of it.
Danelle, I feel like you would be a good tour guide. Like when you take those little tours on the bus.
Like
and
a
you-
museum? Oh, at the bus?
Yeah,
I'm showing them the city.
Yeah, when you have like the shitty walkie-talkie and you're like on the bus and it's like, and over there, there's the nucleus.
The nucleus, the powerhouse of the show.
It's the powerhouse of the shell. And there's the
We're told,
mitochondria.
I have the voice. I have the voice.
You do,
That's
you
right.
do. Yeah.
And the confidence to be wrong at the same time.
We got a lot of I'm gonna say we, but really it was me channeling it and then telling you. I got a lot of compliments on the first episode. People were impressed,
Yay.
and that was your first podcast,
That was my first awkward podcast.
Your first-
Podcast, actually.
Your first
That's what
awkward
people say.
Your first awkward podcast. Can I put that in the end? Your first awkward podcast.
My first awkward podcast, guys. Oh man, they don't know.
Yeah,
They don't know the joy of where that comes from.
I-
The origin of that story.
I could include it.
You're gonna put it in? Please
I
put it
could.
in.
Okay.
Let the people have to know what we're laughing at, what we're referring to.
I asked. I guess this is how we'll go out. I asked Danelle if she could make me a little like tag to put at the end of clips. So when I clip stuff from the episodes and post it, I can. There's a little bit with a lady saying to go watch the show. Because people on the internet respond better to females than males. That's a fact. So I was like, Danelle, do you mind doing this? She goes, yeah, sure. And then she proceeds to send me a really good take, and I was like, damn, she knocked that out of the park. And then she proceeds to send me like 10 unusable takes that she did before that. She was like, you have to see these. 13 unusable takes. She was like, you have to see these, and they're all really good. But there's one in particular where she says podcast.
I do so good, and then I get to podcast, and my brain goes podcast. Yeah.
Podcast.
And I just end it right there. I don't even continue. That was it for me. End.
Well,
You try again.
I hope everybody at home, I hope you enjoyed our podcast today. Let us know. Get in the comments if there's anything you want to share on the topic of burnout.
Or you hate, let us know. We love hate
Yeah.
mail too.
Yeah, we do love hate mail. We may do an, if we get enough of it, we'll do an episode based on it.
Yeah.
We'll do an episode based on
So type to your heart's content, guys.
We'll do an episode based on what we're having to tell our
The hate
therapists
comments.
about our hate comments.
In therapy. Speaking of which, my therapy ghosted me, but that's
Oh
a
my
different
god.
topic.
That's a whole episode. We can't start that now.
a whole other episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Let us but that is a good thing too. Let us know know in the comments if there's anything you want us to talk about and cover.
Yeah. Suggestions.
We're open to it. Yeah.
Yeah. We're open minded. We're old.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have to include that.
You already let the people know.
Yeah, it's true.
In my
All right.
mid-20s. No, I was kidding.
Well, look, I'm not gonna give our ages, but
No, but you guys should comment on how old you think he is.
I mean, what? You're giving them too many things to comment, Danelle. We got topic things on burnout, suggestions, hate mail. How old am I? God, they're gonna
Variety.
You're giving them
People
too much homework.
want
They're gonna get comment burnout.
Out.
Yeah.
I think that's my specialty, man. Like overloading it. That's
Yeah.
that's my problem. I overload it. I do too much.
If you don't want to do any of that, just make fun of Danelle for saying podcast.
You're gonna have a good clip at the end. So
Yeah, I'm about to play it in like a few seconds. Anything you want to say before we sign off?
I am guilty.
Okay, bye.
Oh,
Bye, everybody.
because sometimes you just need a little coffee break.
That's fine.
What you just seen was a clip from our podcast. What do I always want to say? Podcast.